وسهلا بكل الذين ينضموا للاستماع إلى راديو بلدي أول راديو عربي أمريكي ويعنى بقضايا العرب في المهجر. برامجنا في راديو بلدي كل يوم جمعة من 8 وحتى 9 صباحا مع ليلى الحسيني في بث حي ومباشر عبر WNZK راديو 690 AM. صباح الخير بلدي، صباح الخير لكل مستمعينا.
Welcome to Radio Baladi, the first Arab, Middle Eastern, and American simulcast radio show. Radio Baladi is broadcast every Friday morning on WNZK 690 AM from 8 until 9 Eastern Time on Good Morning Michigan with Layla Al-Husseini. Our call-in number 248-557-3300. And now, stay tuned for the best radio talk show on Arab and American issues with your host, Layla Al-Husseini.
Good morning and thank you for being with us. This is Khalil Hachem, editor of wnzk.com, the fastest growing digital business magazine in the Middle Eastern communities in Michigan. This show is brought to you in cooperation between wnzk.com and Arab Radio. Today is Friday, February 7, 2020. The weather is cold. Temperature could reach mid-20s to high 20s. Protect yourself. It's very cold out there. There's a lot of snow on the road. So please drive safely. I want to thank you for being with us. The number here is 248-557-3300. Please give us a call should you have a question or a comment. There's a lot of news today. It's been a very busy week with impeachment ending, with the coronavirus, with the fiasco at the Democratic primary. But what we're going to start this segment with is a little bit of talk about assessing, property assessing. And, pretty soon in the mail, you're going to get this letter from the city or the township, and it's going to tell you what the new property value, what the new value of your property is. And with this housing market, most likely it's going to go up. It's going to go up a little bit, maybe a little bit more than you anticipated. We just wanted to make sure that you understand that letter and know what to do with it. We asked the president of the Michigan Assessors Association, John Dahlquist, to be with us this morning to help us understand assessing and what the letter is and what we can do about it. Good morning, John.
Yes. My name is John Dahlquist, and I am the assessor with the city of Trenton, Michigan. And thank you for mentioning that I am the 2020 president of the Michigan Assessors Association. We are a nonprofit organization committed to promoting excellence in assessment administration and professional development. I would like to mention at this. Hold on. I would like to mention at this time. Some of your listeners, I'm guessing, are not all from the state of Michigan. Is that correct?
We reach listeners from 9 states, and we understand every state is different. Majority of the base is here in the state of Michigan.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for that clarification.
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
And
okay.
How are you today? And thank you for being with us.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, sir. I'm doing well. I mean, it is we are getting a little bit of snow and it's a little bit cold out there for in February, but it's February.
Yeah.
We've had a good year. Thank you.
Yeah, the good news is the housing market is doing well. And how does that impact assessing? And what is assessing?
Okay, the assessor's office administers the property tax laws for the state of Michigan. We prepare the assessment roll for all non-exempt properties in the municipality. Every year, the assessor's office determines the true cash value of each taxable property within the local unit. And by Michigan state law, every taxable property is assessed at 50% of its true cash value. There are many factors that are considered by an assessing office in arriving at the initial market value of a property, but I would say the biggest thing is the increases or decreases in the market value from year to year are the bases that are determined for an assessment of a property in a local unit. So, like prior to 2000, like when we had the downturn in the economy in 2008, sale prices went down, so the assessments went down, and now we're kind of having to come back. So basically, it is the sales properties that are in a local unit. Also to consider are additions to properties from remodeling that may have increased the square foot of the building or subtractions that may have been caused by fire or demolition. Okay, but assessments are largely based on a market value of the properties and what the property would sell for in a true arm's length transaction between willing seller and willing buyer. But you must also remember the fair market value is not based on an individual sale price of a property. It's more, it's more on how the sales in the community are or how the sales in the community are moving.
Sure. So you have like a certain area, you divide that area and you create a multiplier.
Yeah, like if you take the city of Trenton, Michigan, for example.
Sure.
I have divided the city up into about 8 different residential units, which I track every year for the sales in those units, and then I also go to see where they're going and how much the assessment may be going up. And a key to this, when I spoke about the state of Michigan assesses at 50% of true cash value. How that number is determined and how that tells us which way we're going with assessments. If you take the current assessed value and divide it by the sale price of that property, current sale price of that property, that will give you a ratio, okay? And if that ratio, if the overall ratio is above, for a community is above 50%, that means you'd be coming down in assessment. But like now, most of those ratios are below 50%, so we are now in an increasing market. And because we're in an increasing market, the state of Michigan requires that we complete a 2-year sales study, which also helps the taxpayer because it softens the outcome of sales in a single year.
So what you're saying is that everybody should see it increase. The degree of increase varies depending whether property has exchanged hands or whether property has been updated or just the value has gone up in the neighborhood.
Absolutely. The greatest factor that determines the increase or decrease in the value of a property is based on the overall sales in that local community. Okay. So and right now, we are seeing, I can't speak for, all of Southeast Michigan, but in our local unit in the city of Trenton, we are seeing probably a 5 to 6% increase in our assessments for this year.
Yeah. You're seeing the same numbers here in the Beaumont area as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know. I talked to the assessor over in Lincoln Park, and he was saying that theirs are going up by 12%. So so that's pretty, so it's good. I mean, it's good for the state of Michigan. It's good for the property owner, and like well, I'll let you ask me another question.
Sure. So what if I? Okay. What if I don't like those numbers when I get the
when you get the assessment notice? Yeah.
The assessment notice itself is not a tax bill. It's just an assessment notice.
It's just the assessment notice. And what that assessment notice, what that letter is, it's just an assessment notice, and it's going to tell you on that you want to take a look at it. And on that assessment notice, it will give you the increase in your assessed value, okay? And it'll also give you the increase in your taxable value. Now, if the property has not changed hands, let's say, for example, you purchased a house in 2019, okay? In 2020, what happens is, and it will be on that assessment notice, the assessed value, whatever the assessor puts the assessed value at, that will increase the taxable value. That's called the encapping. All right, and that's only for the person where the property has changed hands in that year. Now that you're going to get a big kick up, and that's just by law. That's proposal A. All right, so that taxable value will go up. But in most cases, your assessed value may go up by 5%, but your taxable value is only allowed to go up by the inflation rate multiplier. And that this year is roughly 1.9%. But if you are unhappy with that assessment, by all means, you want to go to the local assessor. But but before you do that, you'll want to do some research. You'll want to see where the sales in your neighborhood are. So you can go to the assessor's office to do that, and you also can go to a real estate office. Kind of get yourself some information. If it looks like the house is sold higher than or it has been assessed higher than the 50% true cash value, then you've got to, then you have a very good argument to go to the March Board of Review. But if the sales look like, they're right where the assessment's at, then, that's going to be hard. But that is your, that is your right. And I tell you at all times to do it. And in fact, what I tell a lot of the people, a lot of our residents is when their house does uncap, in 20, like let's say they bought the house in 2019 and it does uncap, that's probably a good time to go to the March Board of Review because, possibly if you can bring good evidence, to the Board of Review, they might give you some relief, and that will, if they, because at this time, when the property uncaps, your assessed and taxable are the same. If your assessment goes down a little bit, that will bring your taxable value down. But
I just want to remind our listeners that every municipality deals with this issue differently. Some of them require an appointment. Some of them allocate a certain window of time you can go in and appeal to them. And I also want to remind them that please do not use Zillow estimates. They're not accurate. If you want good numbers, you have to talk to a real estate professional. Real estate professional will help you set that up. There are specified people who deal with that as well, and they would advise you, whether to go or not. Is that correct, John?
Yeah, that's correct. And I would also start, I would also, when you do your research, I would start with, real estate companies or go to the local assessing office. They also have sales data that they base their assessments on for that year. So, and it's just true data, you can get it. Yeah. And also a thing you might want to do too, when you go, like I always encourage our residents to come in and take a look at our, the property record card to make sure that it is completely updated and that we have the information that is required.
Absolutely. What if they turn me down and I'm still not happy? What else can I do?
You can go to the Michigan Tax Tribunal. You'll have to write a letter to the Michigan Tax Tribunal, and you have to do that on or before July 31st. That way you can get yourself. That way you'll get a docket number, and then and then that will start your appeal process with the Michigan Tax Tribunal. So you do have your first step is to the March Board of Review. The second step is and if you're not happy with that, then you can go to the Michigan Tax Tribunal, and for residential property owners, you have to file that by July 31st. Would be for 2020, and then for commercial industrial, you don't have to go to the Board of Review if you feel that the assessment's incorrect. Then you can just go right to the Michigan Tax Tribunal. But that filing date is May 31st.
Okay. Now, I know we don't have a lot of time, but millages are very high in most municipalities. How did we get here?
The millages?
You look at some villages at 70 and 80 in some municipalities.
Yeah, I know that. And I can't. That's just what. In most cases, that's what the tax. They're not. Villages are something that are determined by the your board, your administration, your board, your city boards, and and in most cases, if they're allowed a certain amount, and for example, the city of Trenton, our mills are pretty well set by our council. We can't go because of headway, we can't go too high. We've got to stay at a certain level, and if you were to increase any of those, if you're going to go above that, you have to do that with a vote of the people. So most of the mills are set by the administration and by Wayne County and all the other taxing authorities, so that they can that you can pay so you can pay for those services.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to figure out your taxes, you just multiply the assessed value.
Well, let's say for a residential homeowner, okay, you'll there's two there's a non-homesteaded mill rate and a homesteaded mill rate, right? And most people are homesteaded, but you always want to make sure when you get your assessment notice, on that assessment notice, there will be an indication that the property has 100% exemption or 0% exemption. So if you're living in the house and you own and occupy, and if you don't have that homestead exemption, get to your assessor's office and make sure you get that changed. Okay. So, but like for example, where the city of Trenton you take the millage rate times the taxable value, and that will give you an estimate of what you'll pay annually in taxes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And let's say you want to buy a house and then you're not sure what your uncapped is going to be. You can go to the assessor and ask the assessor roughly what would my uncapped value be.
Yeah. I think most assessors will try and help you with that. We do. What I try to do is like over the past 4 or 5 years, our assessments have gone up 3 to 7%. So I'll just take a halfway number. And what I do is I'll increase it by if a guy comes in and says, well, I'm going to buy a house next year. What I try to do is I'll increase the assessed value by 5%, and then I'll tell him I'll multiply the homestead mill rate by that, and that will kind of give him an idea of where his taxes will be, because that's the most important thing that people do not understand is the uncapping. Because when they close on the house and the assessment goes up, and all of a sudden you get a $10,000 increase in your taxable value, that is really that takes your breath away. So, so
I've seen it worse.
Pardon me?
I've seen it worse.
Oh yeah, no.
A lot more than 10,000.
It just depends on the value of the house, but you've got to understand, the uncapping of the taxable value, that goes back to Proposal A, and that is just that's state of Michigan law, and your local assessor has no control over that whatsoever. I mean that's just that's in the law, and so when that uncapping occurs, and that's what I would say that all your listeners really, really have to be in tune with is when they are purchasing a home, to realize that by state law, that taxable value will uncap, and it takes your breath away. So we have been encouraging our realtors in our city to talk, or especially the type of people, to talk to the new buyer, especially the first time buyer, so that they completely understand this uncapping process, so they don't so they buy a house and now they can't afford it. That happens because sometimes a person who's owned a home for a long time has a very low taxable value, and you're looking at that, and then you're thinking that's where your taxes are going to be. But when that property uncaps, it takes a lot of people by surprise.
Yeah. Is there anything I haven't asked you that people need to know?
No, I think from that purpose, I think we have. The only thing I would like to add is that if you want to get additional information, I would always start with the local assessing unit. Go to local real estate. Sometimes maybe your county, because sometimes your county has a little bit more information than because sometimes some of the counties do do assessing for the local units. And also the state of Michigan, the State Tax Commission website is also a very good place to look for information too.
Sounds good. John, I want to thank you so much. And then we'll have more information on our website for people and links for people to get a lot more information. Again, John, really appreciate it.
You have a great day, sir, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, John. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Bye now.
Okay.
Kashat's Mediterranean Market in Shish Kebab offers a great array of your favorite Mediterranean meals. Meals range from lamb specialties, shawarma sandwiches, seafood dinners, and they offer special big trays of your favorite food, plus much more. Kashat's Mediterranean Market in Shish Kebab address is 32839 Northwestern Highway in Farmington Hills. Their phone number is 248-538-9552. That number again is 248-538-9552, and the supermarket is open from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Kashat's Mediterranean Market and shish kebab will definitely leave you satisfied.
Rakma Worldwide Aid and Development provides humanitarian aid in several countries, especially in areas inside Yemen, Gaza, Syria, Lebanon, and Jordan, in addition to others in Africa and around the world. Rakma Worldwide provides food baskets, container shipment, medical supplies, mental health care, education, orphan sponsorship, soup kitchens, and more. Go to rakmarelief.org or call 248-990-4247. Any amount donated to Rakma Worldwide will go to sustaining many lives. Call now, 248-990-4247.
Are you going to start a restaurant or grocery store soon? Do you need floor plans and designs? Call Najee Abood at 734-744-9796. Do you want to buy kitchen and restaurant equipment at discount prices? Call Najee Abood now, 734-744-9796. New Concept Products and Design, the trademark of kitchen equipment. 5% discount on all purchases of $75,000 or more. New Concept Products and Design, new location, 31185 Schoolcraft in Livonia. Learn more at www.newconceptproducts.com. Call Najee Abood, 734-744-9796.
When it comes to reproductive medicine, IVF Michigan Fertility Centers are the recognized leaders. With locations in Bloomfield Hills and 5 other cities in Michigan and Ohio, IVF has experts in all aspects of the field. As a founding member of IVF Michigan Fertility Centers, Dr. Nicholas Shama is one of the leading reproductive endocrinologists in Michigan and Ohio. Dr. Shama has performed over 10,000 IVF cases and has helped thousands of couples fulfill their dreams of parenthood. American board certified in both obstetrics and gynecology and reproductive endocrinology and infertility, Dr. Nicholas Shama is a very caring, compassionate, expert physician that understands not only the medical but also the emotional toil of infertility on his patients. When it's time, get personalized care from Dr. Nicholas Shama at IVF Michigan Fertility Centers in Michigan and Ohio. Call toll-free 855-952-9600, 855-952-9600.
Welcome back, and thank you for being with us. The number here is 248-557-3300. And I want to thank John Dahlquist for being with us. He's the president of the Michigan Assessors Association to explain a very complex issue. Although once you understand it, it's pretty simple, but it is still complex because we're not familiar with it. Most of us are not familiar with it. And that's the assessing and the assessment notice we get. It affects our property value. And we all want our property value to go up, but at the same time, there's a cost to that. So, and it's important that you understand that. You have any question about that, give me a call at any time, 313-819-0101. And we'll have a lot more information on that on our website, yamichigan.com, yamichigan.com. And then later on, we'll have a copy of the discussion we've had with John. You can listen to it as well on our website and on US Arab Radio's website as well, as they always do, put the whole segment on for you to listen to and get more information. Excuse me. We're waiting for Amr to wake up. He asked me to call him early in the morning because as a comedian and as a law professor, he structured his life to sleep early in the morning and sleep late rather. But he asked us to call him. We did call him a couple times, and he should be joining us to discuss the 2020 elections and also now that the impeachment is over, maybe that people in Washington or elected officials in Washington, could go back to business and do what we sent them there to do, which is solve some of the pressing issues that we have are facing our communities, our country, our states, infrastructure. We have healthcare. It's a shame. It's really a shame on a country like us that we have all the means. We're the leader of the free world. We do all of that, and we cannot come up with. It's not a shame on the country, actually. This is a great country. It's a shame on the politicians. They cannot come up with a good plan for healthcare. Healthcare is a major issue in this country. There are a lot of people who can't even go to a doctor or don't go to the doctor because they don't have the means. And, preventive care is very important. Preventive care saves a lot of money too. What politicians don't understand is that if they don't provide a good healthcare system to allow people to go to the doctor that may cost $50 or $75 or $45, later on when they get sick, they go to the emergency room. And in the emergency room, it could cost us, taxpayers, thousands of dollars. This is something we could have avoided by somebody going to the doctor for preventive care, by somebody, and then they get a better health too. And people with good health are more productive and they make more money, they pay more taxes. I don't understand the mentality of politicians who are against providing good health care to our citizens. I don't understand that. I understand capitalism and I understand that if you should work for everything, but at the same time, there are holistic approaches to issues like healthcare, to issues like education. If you can't go to college, students right now are graduating with incredible amount of debt. This is really not good. We're relying on people from other countries to come in and take the good jobs, the jobs that we can't really go to school and get them. And it's unfortunate that we have to do that. This is America. We put a man on the moon. We've done everything. We've done everything. We can do anything. What really saddens me is that the saddest part is that we can spend $500 million on a plane, on a bomber, on a military plane, and then we could lose it in just a second. And then we can spend billions and billions and billions of dollars on military operations all over the world that don't make any sense whatsoever. Okay. But we don't want to provide a good healthcare system, a good educational access to our young people to get good education. It's really, I don't understand that. I really don't understand that. And you talk to some people who tell me, oh, we're conservative and we believe that if you can't afford it, you shouldn't have it. Well, you know what? Not everybody can afford it. But even though in a good society, even if you can't afford it, healthcare and education you should get. And we have a Jerry on the line. Is that right, Mike?
Yep.
Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning, Mr. Khalil Hachem. Thank you for taking my call. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you, Mr.
What's on your mind?
A little bit under the weather, but I'm okay.
Well, I hope you feel better.
Thank you, Mr. Khalil. Thank you. Mr. Khalil, you were trying to talk about both issues, top issues, insurance, car insurance, health insurance. Absolutely, you're right. And in the last 3 years, Mr. Khalil Hashim, I hate to say that our politicians busy on one issue: Russia, impeachment, Ukraine.
Yeah.
And give me, I do understand, Mr. Khalil Hashim, there is nobody above the law. Nobody, even the president of the United
States. Well, the president is above the law. The president is above the law. This is not true that nobody's above the law. The president is above the law. We learned that in the past week. So, go ahead, please.
Mr. Khalil, let me give you an example. 3-4 decades ago, we used to have a previous former president, George Herman Walker Bush. And if you remember, his Secretary of the State was James Baker. And I do remember when James Baker visited Israel, and he was requested to tell the Israelis stop building settlements in the West Bank. And they refused that. So when he came back to Washington, D.C., reported to his boss, President George Herman Walker Bush stopped the $10 billion loan to Israel unless they stop the settlement. So this is what I try to compare. President Trump got $450 million for Ukraine. So I see over here there's a double standard.
No, it's not double standards. They're totally different issues. They're totally different issues, Jerry. I think you're confusing the issues. And I really don't care either way who's on the White House. What George Bush did, he held what do you call it? The aid for international law for because he felt the Israelis are not fulfilling their agreement for international law, and he really didn't hold them. He released them. The only thing James Baker did was he said, "If Israel, you want a deal, call me." That's the only thing he did, and then George Bush was never elected again. Now, the other thing is that the difference between that and what President Trump did, President Trump held the aid so they can investigate his political opponent, and that's against the law. Now, we don't have, on both sides, good politicians to really investigate it in a neutral way. Okay, just investigate it in a neutral way. Is he guilty? Is he not guilty? Does it really warrant impeachment or not? And move on. It doesn't have to be this drama on both sides, the Democrats and the Republicans. And what happened this week is that the Republicans refused to really accept evidence and provide any more. And then the Democrats tried to make a drama because they wanted to drag it in because of election. But the both issues are totally different, Jerry.
Mr. Khalil, allow me, if you don't mind. I know you have a guest, Mr. Amr Zahar, coming soon, probably. Say hello to him.
If he wakes
Khalil
up.
Hachem. Yeah, hi, Amr. Mr. Khalil
Amr with us?
Hachem, the problem is, 3 years ago, when President Trump was sworn in as a president, tell me the truth, Mr. Khalil, they were trying to impeach him while he was sworn in the White House. I mean, give me a break.
No.
This guy,
No, that didn't happen.
Russia,
That didn't happen. Yeah, that
now
there was an issue. There was an issue that and we know he did. He solicited Russia. He solicited other people. Remember when he said, "Russia, are you listening? Do this and do that." You can't do that, Jerry. This is a law. You can't do that. I mean, the president cannot solicit an outside force from another country to interfere in our election. Didn't he say, Russia, if you're listening, get the emails and release them? So he is asking Russia to release the emails and influence the election. And he can't do that. You cannot do that. And the reason he didn't get in trouble with that, let me finish, Jerry. The reason he didn't get in trouble with that is because they acted as if he is above the law. They said, we cannot convict a sitting president. This is something we will do after he's out of office. And that's not right. If he really did that, then he should have been held accountable. And I'm not saying they should impeach him, but the law is clear. You can't do that. You cannot solicit a foreign country to interfere in your election or to investigate political opponents. I mean, I didn't vote for President Trump, but I really want him to succeed because his success is part of our success. But when we start making excuses for violating the law, okay, then we are blindly following someone because of whatever it is, political affiliation we have.
Absolutely, Mr. Khalil Hachem. Life is gone, and the president was acquitted by the Senate of the United States. And the country is divided, Mr. Khalil, is divided.
And he's contributing to that division, Jerry. He is contributing to that division. I mean, this is the first time somebody is speaking, a president is speaking, and he would call certain people sleazebags. He would call, he would make fun of people. He would reward a racist, a talk show racist. He would reward him with an award. Come on, man, that's too much.
Mr. Khalil,
I really want him
let
to
me ask
succeed.
you the last question, and I'll let you go. The Speaker of the House,
we out of time.
she turned the papers of the Union, the papers that he gave it to her and to the Vice President.
That was not right.
Don't you think
that was not right?
Wasn't a professional to do that in front of the world?
That's totally unprofessional. And as I said at the beginning, if you notice, as I said at the beginning, they're both acting like children. He said, she said, look, Daddy. Thank you, Jerry. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Appreciate it. Taking my call, Mr. Khalil.
No problem. Okay.
Bye now.
Bye now. We're going to take a short break. Please stay tuned.
If halal is important to your family, you can trust that Miramar will offer not only the highest quality halal products, but the best tasting and healthiest foods that can be placed on your family table with confidence. Miramar is the first and oldest halal certified food brand in America, serving the Arab and Muslim community, and offers a wide range of halal food products. Check out Miramar's halal food selection today by visiting Miramar's exclusive distributor, Ziad Brothers Importing at www.ziad.com.
Life is a nonprofit charity that's provided humanitarian aid and development to people and communities for over 25 years, regardless of race, color, religion, or cultural background. When disaster occurs here or around the world, Life for Relief and Development rushes in to provide food, medical aid, and shelter to those in need. Please help improve these efforts. Make your tax-deductible donation to Life now at lifeusa.org or call 248-424-7493.
إلي ساعة عم بستناك مشان نروح نتغدى بالشام.
الشام؟
إيه بالشام ومو بالشام.
شلون صارت هي؟
بدل ما نروح نتغدى بالشام
ايه
جابوا لنا الأكلات الشامية الطيبة لعنا لهم.
وشلون بقى؟
هذا مطعم دماس عم يعمل كل الأكلات الشامية الطيبة هون.
طيبة؟
طيبة كتير.
شرفوا نتغدى سوا بمطعم دماس.
الأكل الشامي الأصيل فقط بدمس كوزين. زوروهم على 28841 أرشد لك بفارمينغتون هيلز، ولطلباتكم اتصلوا على 248-987-4609. That's 248-987-4609. دمس كوزين and catering، جبنا لكم الشام لعندكم.
When you're looking for the best in optical care, Dr. Imad Nakash is your doctor to see. With years of experience and thousands of successful procedures performed, you can trust your eyes to Dr. Imad Nakash. See Dr. Imad Nakash and his professional staff for your eye care needs. There's 2 locations to serve you. In Hazel Park, call 248-336-3937. 248-336-3937. In Rochester Hills, call 248-299-3937. That's 248-299-3937.
Welcome back, and thank you for being with us. And we're going to continue with our program. We're going to be talking later on with Cristy Rankin from Beaumont, the Beaumont Health System. We're going to be talking about the coronavirus and then what's going on locally, to prepare and to prevent and to counter this spreading virus. And it will be, turning to be very deadly, and we're still learning quite a bit about it. And I want to thank Jerry for calling. And today politics are very they're very people take offense to everything you say if it doesn't really agree with them. Nobody wants to understand really what's going on. Again, I didn't vote for President Trump, but I really wanted him to succeed. I wanted him to act presidential, and I wanted to, at the same time, that goes to the other side as well. They're not acting professionals. There was no reason for all that theatrics for the Speaker of the House to, jump and tear up the speech, or for President Trump not to shake her hand, or for other politicians to act the way they acted. It's just, there is no reason for that. Really, there was no reason for that. They need to grow up, all of them. And I don't care. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm independent. And I want somebody in Washington who would do the job that we elected him to do. This is something very, very, very important. We sent him there to do a job. After you win the election, you become an American president, not a Republican, not a white, not a black, not a Hispanic. You're an American president. After you win the election, you're a congressperson, you're a House of Representative. Whatever you are, then you are serving the people that elected you to go there and solve their problems. And this is really what we need to focus on. And if we don't do that, we're in trouble. Okay? There's no difference between America and any other third world country if we're going to base everything on loyalty. If you're loyal to me, then it's good. If you're not loyal to me, then it's not good. I don't have to like you, but I can work with you. Okay? This is something very important. And I just want to say, and later on in the show, that I'll come back and say a little bit about the real estate market and what's really going on right now and how the prices continue to increase and the market is doing really well. And what we're going to do is before we go back to and talk to Cristy, we're going to take another break, commercial break, and we'll be right back. Please stay tuned.
Worldwide Aid and Development provides humanitarian aid in several countries, especially in areas inside Yemen, Gaza, Syria, Lebanon, and Jordan, in addition to others in Africa and around the world. Rockma Worldwide provides food baskets, container shipment, medical supplies, mental health care, education, orphan sponsorship, soup kitchens, and more. Go to rockmarelief.org or call 248-990-4247. Any amount donated to Rockma Worldwide will go to sustaining many lives. Call now 248-990-4247.
مرحبا سعيد.
اهلا علا.
ليش هالمقابله الفاتره هي؟ بيقول المثل لاقيني ولا تغديني.
يمه زعلتي، شنو رايك اذا لقيتك وايضا غديتك باحسن مطاعم ميشيغان، مطعم عشتار؟
والله فكره، افضل الاطباق والمقبلات العربيه والعراقيه واحلى ملقا.
ولا تنسين اللحوم الطازجه مباشره من ملحمه عشتار لزباين عشتار، وملحمه عشتار توفر اختيارات متنوعه من كافه انواع اللحوم وباسعار متميزه وجوده ايضا مميزه. ملحمة عشتار تقع على 36865 راين رود في مدينة ستيرلينغ هايت.
وأكيد أحلى لمة وأطيب لقمة في مطعم عشتار اللي عنوانه 3625 15 مايل رود في مدينة ستيرلينغ هايت. هاتف 586-698-2585
يلا علا.
يلا عشتار، للجودة وكرم الضيافة عنوان.
مطعم عشتار.
Life is a nonprofit charity that's provided humanitarian aid and development to people and communities for over 25 years, regardless of race, color, religion, or cultural background. When disaster occurs here or around the world, Life for Relief and Development rushes in to provide food, medical aid, and shelter to those in need. Please help improve these efforts. Make your tax-deductible donation to Life now at lifeusa.org or call 248-424-7493.
If halal is important to your family, you can trust that Miramar will offer not only the highest quality halal products, but the best tasting and healthiest foods that can be placed on your family table with confidence. Miramar is the first and oldest halal certified food brand in America, serving the Arab and Muslim community, and offers a wide range of halal food products. Check out Miramar's halal food selection today by visiting Miramar's exclusive distributor, Ziad Brothers Importing at www.ziad.com.
Welcome back and thank you for being with us. This is Khalil Hachem, and we're going to move on to a different topic. It's been on the news, it's everywhere, and it's affecting a lot of people. More than 500 people have died from the coronavirus, and there are a lot of things going on locally and nationally to prepare and to prevent and to make sure that we understand what the virus is and how to counter it. And, one of these people that working with, health and public officials is Cristy Rankin. She's the emergency manager at Beaumont. Good morning, Cristy.
Good morning, Khalil.
Thank you so much for being with us. I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us this morning.
You are very welcome.
And what do we know so far, and what is going on locally to prepare and counter, this really vicious virus?
Well, what we are seeing right now is actually what should be happening. This is a very well coordinated network of global disease surveillance. So this outbreak occurred, obviously, in Wuhan City in China. Because of their local disease surveillance, it was picked up. I think it started with a cluster of pneumonia cases. So just for your listeners, a lot of countries, and the United States included, track specific diseases, certain contagious diseases. So cases of pneumonia, cases of flu, measles is another one. If a patient presents to a hospital and has a positive test for it, the occurrence of the case is reported to a health department, not personal information, but that we had 6 flu patients. So after years of all this data, this is how infectious disease professionals know what kind of to expect. So when we know flu season is coming. So this all started obviously China does the same thing, so identified, an odd cluster of pneumonia cases in Wuhan City. And after some additional testing, this is where they found basically this new virus. From what they know so far, it appears it transmitted from animal to human initially, which is part of what makes it novel. That doesn't happen very often, actually. And then
Novel
now it is
new. Is that correct?
Yes. Right.
Okay.
They have not seen this virus before. And again, I think they have, preliminarily determined it jumped from animal to human, which is unusual. So yes, that makes it novel. And then now is spreading human to human. So those cases got reported to, China's probably province level, then state level. And all of this information ends up in the World Health Organization, who then communicates it back downward to other countries have similar versions to our Center for Disease Control, CDC. So that all of this monitoring is occurring. And these procedures have been in place. They are just now being enacted. So it did exactly what it was supposed to do. Picked up that virus very quickly so that precautions could be taken to slow down the transmission of it.
So what's going on locally?
So locally, a lot of coordination from the state down to health departments and all of the healthcare systems and providers. We have had multiple conference calls in the last week. Anytime something somewhat changes with the CDC or statewide plans, then there's another conference call to make sure that information is transmitted to healthcare providers very rapidly. As far as Metro Airport, I do know, unless something has changed, the three major airlines in the country have suspended all flights to China. And I know that's been on the news. Detroit Metro Airport is one of the airports that anyone coming from China will be screened. So there is a lot of screening at airports being done. Anyone leaving mainland China is being screened before they get on a plane, and then being screened, and by screened we mean a person-to-person contact from a CDC staff member after they deboard the plane, checking for symptoms, taking a history if they were had any exposure potentially to someone with the virus. And then kind of that puts them into categories of high risk, medium risk, or low risk. But Detroit Metro Airport has had a CDC quarantine station and CDC staff there for quite some time. So this is not a new procedure for them. This happens sometimes with the measles outbreak. They did the same thing. Not quite to this degree, but that was a bit more isolated.
Now, when we say screening, I mean, is there like an equipment they can put it near somebody and they say, coronavirus?
Nope. What they do, and in this case, this is a person-to-person contact. So taking temperatures, asking about any current symptoms, any exposure, kind of taking a history of where they have been in China. Certainly, China is a large nation. And that's what puts people then into a high-risk, medium risk, or no-risk category. So there are controls in not only China, but every other country receiving planes from China. And as far as I understand, the only people being allowed to fly back to the U.S. are U.S. citizens, permanent residents, and their family members.
Okay.
So,
do we have any local cases?
No, there are no cases in Michigan. At the last conference call, I believe they have tested 4 people who met the criteria for testing. And that's something important maybe for listeners to know, too. Based on all these screenings, so far only 4 people have even met the criteria to test, which means they have symptoms and a potential exposure. All 4 of those have come back negative.
What are the symptoms?
Much like the regular flu, it's got a lot of respiratory, so fever, cough, shortness of breath. Some of the cases have had pneumonia, or it appears a few of them may have had gastrointestinal symptoms, but truly what we term the flu is a respiratory illness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So those would be
when should we call a
symptoms.
doctor?
Well, if you've been to China, you should call a doctor. And that is the recommendation from not only the CDC, but all the way down through Michigan Department of Health and Human Services and all the county health departments. If someone has been to China within the last arrived back from China, I guess, within the last 14 days. And that's important to know too. It's not you went to China 6 months ago. The 14 days is the incubation period, so they've been able to determine if someone had an exposure and is going to get the disease, they would start showing symptoms within 14 days. So if for some reason a listener has been to China in the last 14 days, if you feel symptoms, what they're asking everyone to do is contact your healthcare provider ahead of time to let them know you are coming. The people that are being screened, if they're not meeting initial criteria, they are being given those same instructions. Some people in a medium risk category are being asked to self-monitor, so to take their temperature several times a day and keep in contact with the local health department.
Absolutely. For more information, who do we turn to?
There is a variety of information. The CDC actually has a great website that has a whole section on the coronavirus and information meant for the general public. You can look at your local health department, and normally those are counties or sometimes cities. Look on their web pages. Beaumont will probably be putting something out on our web page, our external facing web page. Or contact your physician. But what I would like to express to the listeners is the risk of anyone in the United States contracting coronavirus is very low per the CDC. Really, people are at much bigger risk for contracting the regular flu, which also, unfortunately, lots of people die from every year.
Sure.
So the best things for everyone to do are the normal things we recommend for the flu. Please stay home if you're sick. Frequent hand washing. Avoiding close contact with people that are sick. All of those steps help prevent the spread of any infectious disease. So there's no need to wear masks. And the flu shot, most certainly.
Yeah, the flu shot, yeah. Is there anything else I haven't asked you that people need to know?
As far as personally, for their own protection or information, it isn't necessary to walk around with a mask in public, again, specifically to the coronavirus. Well, that has happened. There's very, very, low rate of low chance of contracting it in the United States because of all these controls that have been put in place to limit the spread. And just to, follow those steps. The flu shot helps tremendously. Again, the frequent hand washing and things like that.
Cristy, I want to thank you so much for being with us. I really appreciate it and sharing this information.
You are very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks again. Cristy from Beaumont Health System. Thanks again.
You're welcome.
Bye now. And I want to thank you for being with us at this hour. I want to thank Mike for his production. Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Jerry, for calling. I want to thank John Dahlquist for being with us, talking about assessing. If you need any information in regard to assessing, in regard to real estate, please give me a call, 313-819-0101, whether it's commercial or residential. The market is pretty hot. This is a good time to buy. This is a good time to sell. So give us a call. I have several buildings for sale, commercial buildings. I have a large building. I have a laundromat, and I have a mechanic shop. I have open land. If you want to develop, have a concrete company for sale, it's polymer concrete. These are the people who do precasting. It's a great, great, great deal. You're buying a company that is working, that is making money. You can get your money back in the first year, and the owners are willing to train. 313-819-0101. Visit us on yammichigan.com and get a lot more information there. Thank you again to everyone. Thanks to Cristy. Thanks to John. Thanks to Mike. Thanks to everyone who called. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Stay warm. Thanks. Bye now.